Judge in Manafort trial says he's been threatened over case. I wonder who's threatening him. So there's a little bit of update on this judge and this court case that's going through for Paul Manafort. So we've got about 3 stories. We're going to put them all together, so let's just jump straight into it. Jurors in the trial of ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort were sent home for the weekend as judge in the fraud trial revealed Friday he had received threats over the case and now travels with U.S. Marshals. U.S. District Judge T.S. Ellis III is rejecting a notion to release juror information to the media, argued that he is confident the jurors would be threatened as well if their information were made public, and I fully agree with him. I can tell you that we've been threats. I don't feel right releasing their names, he says, adding that because of the threats against him, the marshals go where I go. I really do wonder who is threatening this guy. Is it deep state? Is it leftists like Hillary supporters? Or who is actually threatening him? That is what I'd love to know. The starting revolution came as the jury's completed its second day of deliberations without a verdict. The jury will reconvene on Monday. Ellis found a famously picked judge known for his colourful comments has attracted considerable attention during the Manafort trial for his frequent sparring with the attorneys, particularly those on the special counsel Robert Mueller's team. Earlier Friday morning, Ellis acknowledged facing pushback about how he's handled this case. He told attorneys, "I'm no stranger to criticism," but said that this case has brought it to a new level. The juror motion itself was filed by multiple news organizations, the Washington Post, the New York Times, AP, CNN, NBC, Political, and BuzzFeed, to sought to unseal records in the case, including information about jurors. Why do they want to know who the jurors are? Probably so they can do a hit piece on them, or so that they can leak the information and affect the outcome. This would be jury tampering if they released the information. It really, really would. But let's keep going. Rejecting the request by the jury, Ellis said, granted would create a risk of harm to them. And I fully agree with what he has to say, actually, to be honest. Look, I don't know what this juror's like. Personally, I don't know him. But yes, going through and releasing these names would put them under threat. We've already seen CNN and whatnot in the past try and dox people who go against their agenda. They would definitely, with my opinion, they would definitely go through and try and do that again. And if they didn't go through, the left outrage mob would definitely do it as well. You'd also find that people in the jury would be subject to witness tampering and stuff like that. So I fully support him in denying this. The judge also denied a motion to unseal all bench conferences and sidebars which have been sealed. Ellis said that I will release to the public at the end of the trial. After the trial spanning nearly 3 weeks, Manafort, 69, is awaiting a verdict on 18 tax evasion and bank fraud charges. He has been accused of hiding income earnings from his Ukrainian political work from the IRS. He's also accused of fraudulently obtaining millions in bank loans. So Manafort has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Since the jury began deliberating Thursday, the defense has been expressing confidence about its chances. Kevin Downing, Manafort's attorney, told reporters he's seeing the continued deliberation as a great sign for the defense, which it is actually. But anyway, he echoed those remarks after the jury sent Ellis a note Friday asking to end deliberations for the day because one juror has an event. On Thursday, Ellis read aloud another note detailing 4 questions from the jury, which covered foreign financial accounts, shelf companies, and the definition of reasonable doubt and other evidence in the case. In closing arguments this week, prosecutor Greg Aldros, might be mispronouncing, told the jury the government asked you to return the only verdict that is consistent with the evidence, which is guilty on all charges. It takes an unanimous guilt verdict from all 12s to convict on each count. So look, at the end of the day, with the jury going through and not having a swift resolution, that means that some people are not quite sure. My understanding or my opinion would be that some people are not quite sure on this, meaning that he actually might be found not guilty. So at the end of the day, yeah, it's a good sign for him. As for the reason why mainstream media wants to go through and release these names, that is obviously so they can write hit pieces on them. So they can go through and put pressure on them through social means or through political means or whatever it may be, so that they can write up these hit pieces and get them to swing to finding him verdict or guilty. At the end of the day, this Paul Manafort has nothing to do with Trump. They want to make this as all about Trump collusion and all that, but it has absolutely nothing to do with Trump. This is all before Trump, and at the end of the day, if the mainstream media doesn't get a win or Manafort gets found not guilty here, it looks really bad for Mueller and his team. Let alone the fact that it already looks bad because they're so far outside the scope of Russia collusion. But at the end of the day, even him not being found guilty, that would be very bad for Mueller's team. But at the end of the day, the facts are the facts. You got to go where the facts are. But it's not just that. Manafort's judge is under federal protection after wave of threats. Judge T.S. Ellis III revealed in open court Friday that he's received death threats relating to his presiding over Paul Manafort's trial for bank and tax fraud at federal court in Alexandria, Virginia. So this judge has since retained the protection of the U.S. Marshal Services. I have the Marshal protection, Ellis said. I don't even go to the hotel alone. I won't even reveal the name of the hotel. But yeah, and obviously since then, like I said before, CNN, New York Times, and other news outlets asked Manafort judge to release the names, which he has denied. Now, at the end of the day, like I said, yeah, I think this is so they can go through and do a hit piece on these guys, on these jurors, and I don't think that's right. Look, I'm all for freedom of information and everything like that, but not while this court case is going. And this court case is way too high publicity or public to go through and release those names. I'm sorry. Look, yeah, even if it was the opposite side, even if it was one of Hillary's team, would I want them to release? No, I wouldn't. No. Yeah, even if it was like the Democratic side, I'd be like, no, don't release the names. So this isn't a partisan thing. It's not party lines thing. It's not the fact that Paul Manafort used to be with Trump, so I don't want the names released. I'm just sitting there thinking that at the end of the day, we don't want these names out because that will put the jurors at risk regardless of which way this court case goes. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Why do you think the New York Times and all these other leading outlets want these names? Do you think they want to do a hit piece on them? Do you think they want to release the names so that they can pressure them to maybe swing the right way when it comes to voting? Or for their jury? Is that witness tampering? And should we make a case for them possibly doing that? Or do you think there's just not enough evidence for that? What do you think about the judge needing U.S. Marshal protection? At the end of the day, I think it's all kind of disgusting, to be honest. And I'm not surprised with the left-wing media. They're just constantly losing their mind and going nuts. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. If this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great night and enjoy.